And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from Men of High Value channel. It's not Men of High Value channel today, is it? It's actually Three Girls in Love channel. We're gonna do a reaction on a music video today. I thought that I would do something a little bit different. This is Marisa Maino, new artist, I guess. Haven't heard of her before. My wife just found it and made a very nice post on Instagram. And just wanted to share this with you guys, and explain a little bit about love, and see what the experience people are having these days. Obviously, there's going to be lyrics on there, and but yeah, have fun, enjoy.
The love I have for you has got an age. It doesn't go on and on and on. I hate that I'm still feeling the effects. You're here, then you're gone, you're gone, you're gone.
Okay, so quickly here, the love I have for you has got an age. Okay, so basically it ages. She believes that she will fall out of love with this guy. It's kind of interesting how when a woman loses that which she had, meaning he rejects her, that's when she gets the heartbreak. Duh, right? Obviously. It's the same thing with men. Like if they're the ones that are broken up with, it's a little bit different though, because women, they end up wanting to be with the guy pretty much forever, from the fact that he broke up with her. So, but with men, very often, if they're masculine, if they get broken up with, they're like, what the heck was this? Like, okay, I'm departing speedily. Like, I'm moving on with my life. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, there's tons of women interested in me, so okay. And then he moves on. But if a woman is broken up with, it's a completely different story because women and men are different. So, I mean, obviously, if it's a feminine guy, then he's going to be very sad and very blah, blah, blah. And I used to be that in the past. Like, that was my biggest heartbreak when I was 19 years old. A girl that had been together with me for 2.5 years, she broke up with me. We were going to get married, the whole thing, blah, blah, blah. And I was crying, and it was absolutely horrible when she broke up with me. And, I had to, but at that point in time, I put myself in my work, and then I moved on, okay? And then every time after that, where got broken up with several times, like I just moved on. Like, this was ridiculous. Like, how can they not see what I'm gonna bring to the table? And that's, and when I got married, that's when I figured out that, oh, I'm the common denominator. They're breaking up with me for a reason. Like, what? Okay, so, but anyway, that's another story for another video. Basically, this woman has obviously been broken up with, and she's saying, okay, words, with women, it's like they're saying that this love, it's not gonna continue, okay? Like, it's gonna die, and I can't be in love with you anymore. The reason why she says this is because of lack of capacity. It's not because she's not gonna love him forevermore, because she is. Okay, the heartbreak is gonna follow her throughout her life because it's a loose end, and I'm gonna make a video about loose ends in the future. But that's basically the first sentence. Okay, let's move on. I hate that I'm still feeling the effects. Obviously, why would she want to be depressed? Why would she want to be heartbroken? The thing is, she cannot control these emotions. She cannot focus on something else because this is intense emotion that comes from being rejected, left behind, and deserted, which is not something women should ever, ever have to feel. This is ridiculous. Why are men doing this to them? Men don't understand the emotional effects that they have when breaking up with women. If women break up with men, it's a completely different story. Some men will say, oh, no, it's not because I hate breaking up with blah, blah. But if they're masculine, it's a completely different story, okay? And so, yeah. If a woman is masculine, however, and she's broken up with, it's exactly the same as if she was feminine. She's going to be heartbroken and she's going to feel very, very bad. With masculine men, not so much. Okay, let's move on. I've learned to live with the illness of loving you. Like, wow. Um, she's gonna have to live with it for a long period of time. And it is an illness. And this is what causes women to have issues in their future relationships, believe it or not. They've been deserted, there's a breach of trust that has happened, and this causes women to become burdened. Every single time she's broken up with, or there's an issue in a relationship where there's a breach of trust, her ability to trust in men in the future will decrease. She will become more masculine, and she will desire to be with masculine men, but she will want to stay away from them. One, because of her self-worth is decreased, so she wants to make sure that she's with the man that is gonna stay by her side forever. That's the one aspect. So she's okay with settling because she'd rather have that and control over her emotions and not have the instability and craziness of a relationship where she's actually massively attracted to the person. And then it's the other aspect of uh, yeah, anyway, I forgot what I was going to say. But anyway, we're moving on from this one. It is an illness, though, and it becomes worse every single heartbreak. It becomes worse every single heartbreak. And what ends up happening very often is that your future relationship is not going to work because there's no trust there. And even if you manage somehow to trust him, he's not going to be confident because you attract femininity. If you're masculine as a woman, you're going to find a feminine man who's going to be emotionally unstable and who's going to create issues for you. So the absolute best is if women never, ever, ever go through a heartbreak, ever. It is possible. And I'm actually going to explain that at the end of the video, is how is it possible for a woman to make sure that when she chooses the partner, that it's going to be the one for life. And you can actually trick your brain and actually make it so that it is. Okay, and I'm going to explain that later.
I've learned to live with the illness of loving you, but you call and I fall right back to giving in to the habits I got from you.
Okay, just starting quickly with this one. So obviously she learns to live without his love, but she's still loving him. And then, guess what? He calls. Great, fantastic, back into my life. She hasn't managed to break away from it, and very often guys do this if they're players. They have this black book, or they have, obviously it's not a black book anymore, they actually, have all their contacts in their phone, but you understand what I mean, like, players do this on a routinely basis. They spin plates, as they call it, meaning that they have a lot of things going on all at the same time, and then they don't respond to messages, and then they do this, and they move on, and like women go back into their life, and they're trying to text them back and forth, and the guy doesn't care at all. He's become desensitized to a woman's needs and to a woman's emotional fulfillment. Because he's as a feminine man, because that's what players are, they're not built for that. But they're tricking a woman's system by applying hypergamy or making it so that other women are interested in him, which causes the other woman to automatically be interested in him. The fact is, when a woman is in love with the man, this is from what I've discovered. Who knows if it's correct? I want to see the case study again and again and again and again over in the future. But from my experience, what I've noticed is that when a woman is in love with the guy, she can feel when he is in the presence of another girl. Okay, so this is coming into the understanding the mental, emotional, and like capacities of women. They literally have an intuition that men do not have, where they can sense things, okay, that are happening even though they're not physically present, but it's happening with someone that they love. Okay, so if a man turns on a woman and the other woman is in love with this guy, she will feel it and she'll think of him and then she'll want to call him. Like, it's insane how that works. And it's really, really bad because that encourages a player to keep doing what he's doing. Because the more he then turns on a woman, the more he gets other women to get turned on at the same time. So they basically end up being in line towards him. This is one of the biggest reasons why responsible polygyny is the solution, because it brings them, all of them, towards him. So as long as he's responsible, trustworthy, and the right guy, having received a stamp of approval from multiple men of high value, then he's legit. Then actually it'll be a fantastic relationship. But if the guy sucks, which is being a player sucks for all the women that he's playing, obviously he's playing around and not being committed, is going to be destructive. And so he calls, and then she runs right back to him, but he's not going to stick around for long. And the moment she has any issues, he's right back out of her life. And so you get this emotional yo-yo in a woman that is really, really destructive and burdening every single time. Why do good girls like bad guys? It's because exactly what I've mentioned here, that multiple women are interested in the guy, and because of this, the women continuously fall in love with him again and again and again and again, and it's destructive for the women. For the guy, he doesn't really care that much. He's desensitized himself, but you gotta understand that there are consequences for him as well. The consequences is that he pretty much will never ever be able to properly, truly fall in love, because there's no clean woman who will ever be able to be with him, because he's bad news. So she won't go into that one. So like, he gets worse and worse women over time, and he'll basically be 40 years old, 50 years old, and still have, you know, like, he won't be able to get the quality of women in the long run that he desired. Like, just look at Dan Bilzerian. Like, yeah, his women are beautiful, but over time, as he ages, he'll still have money and can get beautiful women, but they will be massively burdened. He attracts who he is, and it might look like he's masculine, but he's actually very, very feminine because of immediate gratification. Right? Masculinity is emotional stability and consistency. He's not emotionally consistent. And he can lose interest in you from the top of the hat. Like, do you understand what I mean? And so if he does that, it's feminine because it's not secure, it's not foundational, it's not consistent. So he will attract masculine women. So over time, his relationships will always suck. So if you understand that from a rational standpoint, it's it's interesting. By the way, she swears in this song, just so you know. She says the F word a couple times. But, okay. She says here, I wish they would have told me it's nothing like the movies, nothing like the songs. This is about love, guys. Why are there so many movies, so many songs, so much talk about love? It's because it is the ultimate experience. It is because this produces more bliss than anything else on planet Earth. And you've come to a channel right here, the Three Girls in Love channel, where I'm able to explain to you love from a rational standpoint. But in many aspects, who cares about the rational standpoint? I just want to feel it. Well, the thing is, if you understand it from a rational standpoint, you can actually apply the principles, or allow yourself to surrender to the principles, so that you can experience the emotion of being in love forever. Because we've got that. Everywhere else, every single channel, all religions, everywhere will tell you that love is hard work. But there's many people who also say that, oh, when you fall in love, then you'll feel it. You'll know that blah, blah, blah. That's what she's saying in this song. That, okay, let's just move on. Right? They said it would be easy. And those are the people who basically have felt being in love and shared it with their friends. Oh, I'm so giggly, I'm so in love, and it's so wonderful, blah, 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 and you should feel it. It's amazing when you feel it. Usually that comes from a girl who's just recently gotten into a new relationship, and then she shares her bliss and joy with all of her girlfriends. And all the girlfriends are like, oh, I want to feel this too, and this would be amazing, and blah, blah, blah. And what ends up happening is that every single long-term relationship in monogamy, the woman loses interest because, by default, that's how monogamy is. And what ends up happening is that they don't feel like that anymore. Interesting. However, they will still feel in love if he breaks up, but if the woman breaks up, then she's obviously lost interest. But then the falling out of love happened before the breakup, obviously. So you see this thing going on again and again and again.
Like the
Yeah.
songs, they said that it'd be easy. They were fucking wrong. Everything I've given, everything I've lost. I wish I would've known how much that it would cost. Oh, love sucks, and I'm done, so done.
Boom. It's an amazing song, guys. So Marisa Maino, Love Sucks, amazing. Go and check her out. I wish I would have known how much that it would cost. The how much effort that women put in when they're in love is insane. If you understood the capacity of women when they're motivated outside their brain, oh my gosh. You don't understand the potential you have as a woman. You know inherently that you have it, but you don't truly understand your potential before you've been in love, how motivated you become, how blissful you become, how excited, how fired up outside your brain. You know this, and you want it, and you'll get it, but it will be temporary in monogamy. In Three Girls in Love, this emotion can and will last forever if he applies the principles of Three Girls in Love, which is not really hard, okay? He's built up his financial foundation from long before. He takes all of the blame in the relationship, and he's gone the majority of the time. There are just a few key principles that need to be applied in Three Girls in Love in order for it to work, but he needs to understand the woman. He needs to understand, and that's what we're teaching on this Men of High Value channel, uh, and giving them the stamp of approval that he has understood female nature and he understands the principles that is needed for it to work. So if you still remain with this channel of Three Girls in Love, eventually you will find a guy who's a man of high value who's received that stamp of approval. But if you don't find that guy, if you don't receive a man of high value, the likelihood that you will put a lot of effort in relationships, in monogamous relationships where the guy will break up with you, that's going to be sometimes. It doesn't happen very often, okay? Because unfortunately, more and more, because guys are beginning to learn all the player tactics and all that stuff, and not caring, and MGTOW and all that crap that's going on the internet these days on YouTube, and they're learning all these skills about how to manipulate women. It's a problem, because this is what we're moving towards, where it's common knowledge how to screw women up. So it's gonna get worse before it gets better. But if at the same time as this is happening, this movement is happening where you can learn what they're doing so that you can stay away from those guys, because it's not good for you long term. So, but basically, the efforts that women put in their love relationships is absolutely amazing. But they don't really put much effort into relationships where they have the power. Because if they've got the power in the relationship, they basically do the least that they can possibly do and get away with, and then kind of are looking for someone else. Which is basically every single relationship there is, because it's always greener on the other side in monogamy for women. So they'll look at elsewhere. But if they're the ones that are in love, she will adore and worship that guy with all of her heart, and it's absolutely amazing. Okay, just understand that being done is just her words. We can't really, as men, okay, I'm talking about the men now that are on the Men of High Value channel, they understand, or at least what I'm trying to teach them is that women's words sometimes are not, like, there's a duality in femininity, which makes it so that you can't really take her too seriously all of the time. We need to take women seriously when they have issues and when they're trying to talk to us seriously, obviously, okay? From a man's standpoint, yes, we understand you guys. in that sense. However, very often you might have noticed as a woman that you say things and you don't really mean it. You mean it, you feel it, but it's not really reality. So, like, for example, when she says love sucks and she's done, she's not done. She still feels the love for that person, or else you wouldn't be singing this song. Like, do you understand what I mean? So it's like the oxymoron of I'm done with love. It sucks. But I can't be done with love because that's all I have, and I don't have a choice in my emotion. Do you understand what I mean? So, and that's a beautiful thing when applied with the right guy and with the correct relationship, isn't it? The fact that you can't control your emotions and that it's uncontrollable and that you're so attracted to him that you have to jump him every time you see him, that's the kind of love that you want to have for the rest of your life, not just in the beginning of a relationship, right? So let's move on. She's gonna swear now.
Love sucks the fucking life out of my system. Trying to hide the sim.
Okay, so obviously being masculine drains a woman. Okay, so it's basically going to take out the energy of her and her life over time exponentially. So there's going to be an exponential decline the more masculine a woman becomes. The more heartbreak she goes through, okay, she was hopeful and then she got disappointed. She's hopeful and then she's disappointed. She's hopeful and then she's disappointed. She's like, eventually that's gonna create permanent issues in her life and in her psyche and in her relationships, to the point where she's not gonna want to fall in love anymore. And she's gonna want to settle with someone that she's kind of attracted to, and she'll allow him to be with her, but she's not really that into him. It's more like a friendship type thing. That's really deceptive, really, when if you look at it from a man's perspective, that a woman, it looks like she's in love with him, and maybe she is in the beginning, but she knows inherently that this guy, I'm gonna be happy with him long term because of our friendship, not because of the massive attraction I have towards him, if that makes sense. So, but that's kind of what happens, where a woman is trying to hide the symptoms, and but she can't, because you can see it in a woman when she's masculine. Over time, she becomes more and more masculine. You can see it in her eyes, you can see it in her face, you can see it in her skin, you can see it in her whole body, that she has had a lot of issues throughout her youth. And the issues that have happened is basically because of this.
Hoping a band-aid will hold it together for just 1 second. I'm trying to ease the tension. You never pay attention to me.
So, how do you think she's trying to ease the tension? Oh, I feel so sad for women. Like, I literally do, because this is what happens to majority of them. Like, there's a quote that my wife has on her Instagram. It's the Instagram is 3 girls in love, 3 girls in love with the digit 3. Go follow it. Where she explains about how there was someone put out a Twitter quote or something like that, and they said that it's so interesting how whoever I want, or love is difficult because whoever I want, they don't want me, and whoever wants me, I don't want them. This is the experience that a lot of women experience. And the reason why this happens is because women have to find a guy who is higher value than her, okay? Until she gives up and settles, okay? But that's in the end. In the early teenage years and in her 20s, she wants to have a man because this is her prime. She needs a man who is higher value than her. So meaning, if the guy's higher value, by default, he has options. More options than her. Because what determines high value from an objective standpoint, not from a masculine standpoint, because you're not high value if you're a player, right? But in terms of attraction for women, the more options he has, the more attractive he's going to be. But don't fall for that one, because he's not necessarily high value just because he has a lot of options. But a woman wants this guy. He doesn't want her because he can choose from a majority of women, a lot of them. And And then there's a lot of guys who are interested in her because they're feminine. And most guys are feminine in their teenage and 20s. And then they become in their 30s, they become more and more masculine, develop options, and then, they flip the switch. Because before it was the women who had the options because they're in their prime, but men become in their prime when they're in their early 30s, okay? So that's kind of like, yeah, so that's how that works. You never pay attention to me. Well, what do you think? Why do you think he doesn't pay attention to her? A man will always pay attention to a woman who's he is in love with. Right? It doesn't make any sense. Like a guy who really loves his woman will pay attention to her. But if he's broken up, then you know why he doesn't pay attention. It's because he's playing around. He's doing his thing, or he's really upset because of something that happened in the relationship. But anyway, moving on. Okay, we've heard this one. I'll let you guys hear the last one afterwards. But anyway, let's go. Here.
I still read the stories, the fairy tales and dreams, like happy ever after is something I can read.
Wow, amazing. I still read the stories, the fairy tales, and the dreams. Why? Because women were designed to believe in love. Love is at the root of women's emotions. They understand that this emotion is what life is all about. Why do you think, again, that so much thought and so much lyrics, so much movies, so much all of this have been put into understanding love, and people simply don't get it, okay? But women understand that they have to have it, and that it is possible for them, that there is potential, but they don't know how to get it. So she still reads the stories, the fairy tales, hopes that love could be possible, because life is too short, right? Please give me love, I gotta figure it out. And yet, they're looking in the wrong place. They're looking at monogamy and hoping that they're gonna have consistent in-love feelings for the rest of their lives as long as they just find the right guy. Not so. Never so. Okay? However, you'll find women who are in their 40s and 50s and say, I'm so in love with my husband. What are their options? What are their options? When they're 40, 50, 60 years old, do you think that they can find another high-value man at that point? I mean, it's possible. Of course, there's always a guy out there that's possible. Okay? But the probability that she can find him while she's married, and do you understand what I mean? Like, it becomes harder and harder and harder the older you get as a woman. And the more feminine you are, the more likely you are to stay in that relationship anyway, because you like him because he's masculine, right? So there is somewhat polarity in the relationship. But if you as a woman are masculine, the probability that you'll find another guy who is, who's emotionally stable and mentally stable and all that stuff, it becomes very difficult. The best time to secure a man of high value is in your early years, okay? 18 to 22 is the best time to secure a man of high value. You're in your prime. You're going to secure the best man possible. And hopefully you look a little bit older. Hopefully you look 5 years older or 7 or 10 years older, because that guy will be more established. He'll know. We understand that women mature faster than guys, right? In their teenage years, girls mature very fast compared to guys. Guys remain immature for a very, very long time. And then it switches, right? She's immature, and then she remains in her femininity, hopefully, and then she finds a guy who is mature, and then they can connect. Guys who are masculine want girls that are somewhat immature, because that's feminine. It's fun. It's crazy. It's all over the place, but it sucks if they don't understand love and the man doesn't understand the woman. But in general, stories, fairy tales, and dreams, absolutely, it's amazing.
Fairy tales and dreams, like happy ever after is something I can.
That is something that she can reach. That's what's so sick. Like, it's crazy.
No matter how it hurts me, no matter how it stings, I know that I still give up almost anything.
Oh my gosh. No matter how it hurts me, no matter how it stings, she'd give up anything to get love again. So, does that mean that she has to join back with that guy who dumped her and screwed her over? Obviously not, okay? he probably will do that again and again. So it's good for her to move on, but she can't move on before she has secured the reset button. And the reset button, okay, you've got, this is something that I've studied for a long time, is that women are very much emotional creatures, meaning that they are very much in the now. So what happens is that if she has this chronic ailment, which is very often what heartbreaks create, chronic ailments, it's an illness, right? What alleviates her pain is instant gratification or in the now emotions. So, for example, drinking, smoking, uh, casual sexual relationships, because it's new, it's exciting, it creates emotion. And then also new purchases, shopping, getting new. It creates emotion, and that is what fulfills her in the moment. But long term, it can be very, very destructive. All of this destruction that happens in women's lives very often stem from heartbreaks that happen in their teenage years and in their 20s. And they're trying to solve it by immediate gratification. However, there is a way to solve it long term, and that's what is termed the reset button. And the reset button is basically that you enter into a relationship where you are able to stay in love forever. Right? If you enter into a new relationship and it's exciting and wow, fireworks, blah blah blah, and then you end up being the one dumping that guy, you will still be thinking about the guy that dumped you. And very often, even during the relationship, you'll be thinking about the guy that dumped you. Like, it's insane how that works. But this is the mentality of women. I know, okay? I know what's going on when you're in a relationship and you're not really, even if you want to feel it for the guy and you're not feeling it because he's being feminine and not attractive, you will be thinking about what happened in the past. That's something that you cannot leave behind you because it's loose end. It's a problem. However, if you enter into a relationship that allows the reset button to happen, what's the reset button? It is the place where you can be in love forever. Only solution here is responsible polygyny. You probably figured that out. Why? Because you're in love not just in the beginning of the relationship, but you're in love on a daily basis. Daily basis. Whenever you begin to be, out of sight, out of mind, your man is gone all the time for whatever reason, the moment one of the other women begin to talk about him, meaning your two best friends that you're together with, 3 girls in love, right? The moment one of them mentions your man, which is also their man, there's a peak of interest. Oh, another woman is speaking about my man. That increases it's an edification process of the man and lifts him up, which piques your interest, even though you were just with him yesterday, but you're a now creature, remember? Which means that you're going to be excited about him returning home that night and spending time with him, even if you have to share him with the 2 others. And I'm saying this because he's going to equally share the attention amongst you 3. Okay, all of you are going to have all of the time that you need to feel emotionally fulfilled. And you love it when he also shows his attention to other women, as long as you know he will always emotionally fulfill you, right? There's only 3 for a reason. If there's more and the above, then it's not going to work. If it's 2, it's not going to work because he's going to focus on her while he's neglecting you. When he's focusing on one, then you have your best friend and you're equal with someone else. You're not being left behind. When there's 3, it's the magic number to make things work. And it's the reset button. It actually has the capacity to heal you from everything that has happened in the past if he's a man of high value. And he received the stamp of approval from this channel, from the society at large, from the council. So anyway, we'll end with the last 30 seconds of the video just to kind of get the amazing aspect of this song. last thing here. Love sucks? Really? No. Love sucks when it doesn't work, when it fails. That's the only time that love sucks. Unfortunately, women are getting into the mindset that love sucks. And so they'd rather have casual sexual relationships and never settle down. In their 20s, they make that decision that I don't really, I just want to play the market and enjoy myself because love sucks. Like, I don't want to bind myself down to a long-term relationship because I'm going to invest a lot of time and most probably, I'm going to use up my 20s in that one relationship, and then that relationship might probably fail in the future. Like, I'd rather set up my family when I'm foundational and set up everything in my career and studies are done and all that stuff, and then I'll establish a family when I'm in my early 30s like everyone else is doing. No. You're messing up your future love by having messy relationships in your teenage years and in your 20s. Very bad idea. Being part of this men of high value movement that we're building, you would be able to actually never have to experience that love sucks. Because you would never have any failed relationships, which allows you to remain in your femininity forever. And it makes it easier for the reset button to work for you. The reset button is going to be harder and harder the more heartbreaks you have, right? The less heartbreaks you have throughout your teenage years and in your 20s, which is a risk that you do with every single person that you enter into a relationship with, every single person that you have sex with, there's a risk that you will connect with that person emotionally. The better the sex, the more problematic it becomes. So, and that's kind of the goal of sex, is to have good sex. So that's the Russian roulette that I explained. I made a video about casual sexual relationships being Russian roulette for women on the Men of High Value channel. So if you haven't seen that one, I'd recommend it, actually. But anyway, the point is, we can solve this. We can actually literally solve this, and we can trick our brains as a collective society, okay, to make love work every single time, if you understand the principles behind it. And the principle is that a woman needs other women to be in love with her man, and for them to be fulfilled and receive pleasure from him at the same time as she receives pleasure and fulfillment from him. When that happens, there's an emotional reset button that makes it so that you are in the moment. You are now a creature. You're an emotional creature. The moment you understand this, how this works, you'll be fired up outside your brain. Because you've tricked your brain now to actually be in love forever. Forever. Okay? If you know that every single long-term monogamous relationship, the love is going to fizzle out, or should I say the in-love, the passion, that you probably are going to, love him more and more over time as a friend. But do you really want a friend? Don't you want a lover, a passionate love that you can have for the rest of your life? That's really why we settle down with the family, isn't it? At least that's what guys do. Guys want to have passionate lovemaking for life. So if that's what you want, then monogamy, in my opinion, is not really the best choice. It's good, it's wonderful for those people that have good relationships, but understand that those good relationships take hard work and take a lot of adaptation and change and all that stuff, meaning the woman has to become more masculine because she has to learn how to control herself. She has to learn how to be, communicate and make sure that she seeks to understand him before she seeks to be understood. She has to become more masculine in order for a monogamous relationship to work. Is that what nature had in store for us? No, we're going the opposite direction of nature by women striving to discipline themselves in a relationship. It's not a good idea because it increases the likelihood of the relationship failing because you're becoming more masculine. Because if the more you try to control yourself, the less you'll be able to control yourself as a woman. And the men, guess what? In monogamy, they end up becoming more and more and more and more feminine until they most times lose all of their power. This is the default system of monogamy, which is great if you want just a friendship. If you just want a friendship for life, fantastic, good on you, and I encourage you, and I encourage all monogamous couples. I don't want any monogamous couples to fail, okay? Because we're talking about love, we're talking about family, we're talking about lives here. But Three Girls in Love has the power to help you to be in love forever because of the principle of hypergamy and understanding that you will always try to find a man who is the highest possible man who other women want in your vicinity. And if you apply the Three Girls in Love system to your life, you will see how well it functions when done right according to the principles of these two channels. Hope you learned a lot from this video, and make sure you comment down below, like this video, and share it with people, because people don't know how love works. And love does not suck when it works. Love is bliss. It is amazing. It can be yours. I recommend you study out this channel. This is the Three Girls in Love channel. My name is Joseph Darling. I'll see you in the next one.